Hey, hey, hey! Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this complimentary web class with me, Cory Michelle, called The Magic of Being Congruent. It is a taster for the Art of Living Crazy Possible coursework. So I am super excited that you all are here. So if you want to say hi in the chat room, I would love to see who is here. This will be an interactive presentation in the sense of everybody who's live. We get to play in the chat room. And hopefully we'll only go about an hour today. That's my target. I tend to go a little bit long, but I didn't give myself as much as I normally would present. So we get through it. And at the end, I've got two things at the end I'm going to be sharing with you. Number one is how to actually implement all of this into your life and the support system to do that. And also the three questions I ask that create a lot of instant actualizations in my world. So I'm going to do that at the very end, just to tease you into really being present with this web class today. So the information I'm going to be going over today is some stuff that you can start applying and really looking into your life right away. And that's what I love about facilitating this work is that when you start to engage with it, the universe starts responding pretty immediately. But there are sort of some keys to like having it happen more consistently. So how many of you guys, tell me in the chat room, how many of you guys would like to have things show up as if by magic, right? How many of you guys would like to have more of those sort of spontaneous, like, oh my gosh, I just asked for that, and then it showed up? How many of you guys would like more of that way of living to be like your whole life? So tell me in the chat. All right, you guys, I see a whole bunch of people. Thanks. I like my background too. We just organized this with the last Art of Living Crazy Possible class. Got it. Awesome. Hi, everybody. Hi, Christine, Lori, everybody jumping on. Hi from Perth. Still haven't been to Perth yet because I'm in Australia. I'm in the Sunshine Coast in Noosa, Queensland, which I freaking love. I love it up here. Arizona. We have people from all over the world. Awesome. Okay, cool. So Patrick's saying I'll have some of that. Yes, please. Absolutely. Yes. Phoebe says, hi, Phoebe. Hi from Seattle. Hi, Hope. Okay. All right. So let's just get right into it. So today, the magic of being congruent, this little web class. What is being congruent all about? We're going to talk about a few things. What is being congruent all about? We're going to remove the mystery from instant actualizations, and also I'm going to share with you the three questions to activate the magic of congruency, as well as share with you about how you can actually like have more of this and be able to be congruent, like actually become congruent with what is possible for your life. Okay, so let's start with congruency. Congruency. Now, this is interesting because I used to call it alignment, and I actually ended up one day looking it up, and I go, oh, wait a second. Alignment means to be in a line, which basically means you have to line and agree, right? And I was like, well, wait a second. So consciousness is not linear. So why would I want to align with anything, right? So I was like, that's interesting. But I was like, well, what is it that I'm really aware of here? And so I was like, congruency started popping up in my world. And I was like, well, wait a sec. What does congruency mean? Being congruent is actually to be in harmony. So I was like, duh, like that is exactly what is how, like this Earth, for example, our amazing, beautiful planet is congruent, right? And the plants and the animals and how nature works when mankind isn't really interfering with it is congruent. Everything works in harmony, right? So I started really looking at that going, okay, so if I'm in harmony with myself, and like as the infant, everything that I could was asking for would start to actualize. And I started going, wait, there's something to this because it is working like magic and it seems like magic, right? Oh, back. Yay. Okay, good. Sorry, we lost you guys. Or I lost you. You lost me. But we're back. So, all right. Can some of you guys see me? Good morning, everybody. Manjeet, could you let me know if you see me? And you can put it in Voxer or in text. That would be great. I have great internet today, everybody. I have great internet. So that shouldn't be an issue, but what else is possible? What would it take to get a clear connection? Okay, good, we're good. All right, so hi everybody joining. All right, so this space of being congruent really seems like it's magic. It seems like you're like, I don't know how that showed up. Like, wow, where did that come from? That's how the universe works, right? Is the universe is not congruent. It's totally chaos, but it's this sort of organized chaos. But what is it organized around? Well, it's organized around the energies that you're being, right? Because the language of the universe is energy, right? Everybody from Tesla to Einstein to Gary Douglas to people that work with quantum physics and all that kind of stuff. Everybody knows that the universal language, the language of the universe is energy. So it's not our conclusions, it's not our points of view, it's not our limitations, but all of those things have energy, right? So when I started looking at it, was like, wait a second. So if all of this is energy and when I'm congruent with something, it actualizes. Like the universe goes, yes, you can have that. And I go, okay, I'll have that. So I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. So now if we look at the energy you're being at any moment, the universe's job is to deliver you what you are currently congruent with, right? So right now in your life, what is showing up in your world is what you're congruent with. You're always congruent with whatever is showing up in your world. Now, when you start going, I don't want that anymore, or that doesn't feel so good anymore, or I just know something is greater, I know something is more, like I'm aware of other possibilities, then what happens is you become aware, right, of these other possibilities, these other energies, and what you're congruent with is still what you had yesterday. Okay. And so in the Art of Living Crazy Possible, what we do is we actually go through all the different sort of elements of what's required to go, okay, so instead of making this a problem where we are to try to fix it and heal it and do all this work with it, why don't we just get congruent with what we'd like? And then all of this stuff becomes a non-issue. You don't have to fix everything from your past and do all this other stuff. All of it, like we tend to think we need to do, is clean out everything. Really what you got to do is get congruent with what is now available to you or what's now possible in your awareness. Now, when you do that, that's when, life, if you've ever had those experiences where you go, oh my God, all this stuff is just showing up and everything seems great, or you're in the flow. Well, that's what the flow is that harmonious, you being harmonious with what is possible. Now, with congruent, being congruent, there are lots of different aspects to it. So there is you being the energies, right? So if you look at your life now and everything that you are congruent with, and you know that because why? Because it is showing up already right now. And some of you, I can hear your heads, you're like, no, I don't want to be congruent with this anymore. Awesome place to start, right? The awareness of whatever is showing up is not quite what I'm now aware of that I would like to have. Okay. So when you start by just being honest with yourself of like, okay, this is what I'm currently congruent with, and not judge yourself, right? Of going, oh, there's something wrong, right? What if nothing's wrong with that? You're just congruent and more is possible, right? And so stripping away the wrongness and the judgment is sort of a little bit of a process. I do it in sort of 3 steps in the Art of Living Crazy Possible, where we actually look at how all that gets created. Why do you even go into the wrongness of you in the first place? And once we sort of get to that, we unhook it from the bottom and start to release it so that it actually, like people, what they say after the class is like, I just don't judge myself anymore, right? Like, I just don't judge myself anymore. What would that be like, right? So, especially like judging yourself for the things we create, right? Like if you create a big, what I call poo pie, stuff that you don't want, then we judge ourselves for, oh, I created that money issue again, or oh, I gained the 5 pounds, or I whatever I did. Or we go into the, shame and blame and regret and guilt. And none of that is congruent with what you now know is possible, right? So there's kind of a way to sort of jump over all of that stuff where you don't even have to really deal with it. So how does it get better than that? Now, being congruent, stepping into that, there's really looking at what what is your life right now? What are you congruent with? Not making yourself wrong. But then also going, okay, so if I don't make any of this a problem, what could I be aware of? What is actually possible? What choices can I make from this space? Now, a lot of times what we do is we go, oh, this is a problem, right? I have the money problem. I created, like for me personally, I created $150,000 of debt. And I really didn't have any foreseeable way to pay it off because I wasn't really making much money. And I just didn't have any, and I really didn't want to go get a job, right? And so I was like, all right, so I've got to be able to outcreate this because having this debt isn't actually congruent with what I knew was possible for my life. So I had to look at a couple of things. Number one, my energy. And I started going, okay, so my energy is actually more congruent with spending money than actually receiving it, than creating it, right? And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. And so I looked at a bunch of different things with that. And then I like, okay, so what else is there? And I was like, wow, there's unwillingness to choose certain things. And one of the unwillingnesses that I saw for myself was to acknowledge that I am valuable, right? That I actually have stuff to offer people that's actually really great and that people actually might want them. And I started going, wow, because the point of view in my head that was not congruent with actually having people buy things for me and my business and want them was that I thought that I wasn't valuable, but I was like, please buy my things so I can have money. And I was like, oh, that is just, it felt so slimy in my head. And it just was, it felt terrible to think that that was really what was underneath everything. So I was like, all right, well, that's not congruent with having a business that works for me and having money work for me. And what I had realized is that, being $150,000 in debt at age 33, and I had already filed bankruptcy like a few years before. So it's not like I could, just file bankruptcy again or something. I was like, that whole patterning had to change. If I was going to live another 50 years, right, live till I'm 83 years old, do I really want to have money still be a problem at 83? And I was like, no. So everything that I gotta look at and choose differently has to happen. Like that has to happen if I want to actually have a great life, a life worth living for the next 50 years if I live till I'm 83, right? So that is one thing to look at of going, okay, so I had to stop thinking that I was not valuable. And I'm like, okay, because that is not congruent. And also it just wasn't light. Now, as we know, what is light and expansive for you, what light goes, that's what's true for you. What's heavy and contractive for you, that's what's not true for you. That's a universal truth. That's our body awareness. That's our energy awareness of light and heavy, right? The light is what's true for you, expansive, and what's heavy is contractive. Well, when I would say, I'm not worth it, then that was the energy, the heavy energy I was directing out, was radiating to the universe. Now, the cool thing about the universe is the universe ain't got no judgment. The universe doesn't care what you ask for. The universe doesn't have any issue with delivering you big fat poo pies. The universe doesn't. The universe is an energetic response system. It's like a delivery system. So you put out the energy and then it delivers. Whatever is a match, whatever is congruent, whatever is in harmony with that energy. Okay? Now, if you're in harmony with a bunch of poo pies, then you'll get poo pies. The universe is like, okay, if that's what you would like, I will ask and you shall receive, right? And if you're resonant, like energetically resonant, but congruent with other things, then the universe will show you other possibilities, okay? So when I started to switch, I was like, okay, so what I really know is possible is ease with money. What I really am aware of, because I was aware of this thing and it seemed way out there, but I was aware of it. And I was like, ease with money. And also I saw other people having ease with money. So it's like, I know it's possible. And what's it actually going to take for me to have that, right? So I had to start looking at what choices can I make differently? So one of the things that I had to do for myself is start valuing me and going, okay, so what is it that I really love to offer? For example, And what is it that would make me so happy? And what would it be like if I was having ease with money? So I started asking those questions, and I did a lot of other stuff too, but I started choosing differently too. And I think this is the part where we get a little bit sometimes people don't want to choose differently. And there was a lot of things in my life that I didn't want to choose differently either. And when we start to go, okay, I'm actually going to have to make a totally different choice here, then all of a sudden the universe goes, oh, not only do you have a different energy that's coming out, but you have an action. You're actually engaging with this energy that's over here. Oh, okay, cool. So let's open some other doors over here. Because every choice you make opens up doors. If you make a heavy choice, it opens up a set of heavy doors. If you open a light door, or a light possibility, make a light choice, you open door, or you open, how did I just say that? I'm getting confused. I see all the doors in front of me now. You open up light doors, more light doors. It's like every door, and then you walk through it. The choice, the engagement is actually walking through that door so that more doorways of possibilities start to become available, more choices. Okay. So when you're engaging with these light choices and the choice to choose more light choices, and some people, then what starts to happen is more light choices become available and you start becoming more congruent with what it is that you know is possible, right? And one of the things that happens is once you go through one of those light doorways, then there's a set of possibilities beyond that that's actually congruent with what you just chose. But the thing is to get to that next set of choices, you have to choose what is actually congruent with that to get there. And this is where people oftentimes will ask, like, oh, I want clarity, but they're looking for clarity like the end result. Well, that's not ever really what we get. We get two things. One is we get the next choice. It's like, take the next step. What is available now? And then the second thing is we get, have you ever noticed, shown these, I call them diamond encrusted carrots, right? There are these little carrots that we go, oh, I'm going to follow that for a little while, but then the carrots change. So it's like the universe dangles these bright, shiny possibilities in front of us, and we go, oh, I'll have that. And then you start engaging with that, and the universe goes, okay, great. Now here's really what we have next. And it'll show you the next big possibility. And then it'll keep going like that. So you never really know the end. And a lot of times we're trained in this reality in school, in jobs, is you get to the end. You get to the goal. And that's the point, is to get to the goal. But the point of why we're here and this whole creation and consciousness, and I think the fun of it is really that it never ends. And if we think that it does, that's sort of a bogus target to have, is to get to the end. It's really to get to the next, right? To get to the, oh, I'm going to go to the next part, going to go to the next part, going to go to the next part of creating your reality. Okay. And I think that's a really, really important concept to really get, that some of us get it on one level, but when we're really creating our lives, we think it's about, manifesting the $5,000 or, getting the relationship or losing the weight is the thing, right? The thing that'll make you happy, the thing that will create, but it's not that. It's the energies. It's the energies that you're being that actually create. So the key really is to become congruent, become harmonious with the energies and be the energies of what you'd actually like to have. Now, how do you do that? And I'll tell you more about how I can support you in having that, because once you have that, it's almost like you're in a completely different reality. And I have that awareness often. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too sometimes, where you're like, I am not living the same reality as everybody else. Like, what's going on here? Well, when you're congruent with a whole different set of possibilities, a whole different set of energies, you literally are in a different reality than they are, right? And sometimes we pop back in and we want to go back down to their reality. And I say down simply because it's heavier, like the actual weight is heavier, right? And then if you can actually maintain that energy, which is true to you, which is actually organic to you, then that's where literally there's a whole different reality to be had, where this instant actualization and the magic starts to really be your entire life. Okay. All right. So look at the comments here. Yep. Thank you. Thank you very much there. Okay, cool. So that's what congruency is all about. And that's what I'm talking about when we're being congruent. Now, some people asked about, if we're, somebody asked online the question of like, what have we decided that being congruent is that isn't? Well, the way to congruency, we talk about it a lot. It's the whole program of Art of Living Crazy Possible. But to give you a little tiny snippet of that is when things are showing up, you're congruent. When they're not, you're coming up with issues, problems, just like a bicycle with a chain on. When the chain is on the bicycle and it's oiled, it works. When it's not, when it's got some, sand in it, or when it needs some oil, or when it's rusty, right? It's not congruent. It's harder. It's more. But when you're in that space of congruency, then that's when you become aware of something. You go, oh, over here, that, and then all of a sudden it actualizes. Then you go, oh, I'm aware of this over here, and you're like, that possibility, I'm going to go for that one. And you start to know your energies, the priority energies for you, so that you actually are really clear about what is showing up, if what's showing up is congruent with your priorities. And so that's one of the other keys, I think, to being congruent is knowing what your energetic priorities are. There's infinite energies out there, right? And what we simply say is that you've got the lighter energies and you've got the heavier energies, and they're all on a spectrum, right? And so the heavier ones are like, wrongness, doubt, shame, blame, regret, guilt, like all of those down here, right? Because anytime you go into any of those, they contract you, okay? And when you go into possibility and fun and I'll just show you my priorities right here, are excellence, pleasure, elegance, exquisite creation, and greater than I can imagine. So I have them all here. So if we look at the energy of excellence, it's like, ooh, that makes my whole body tingly. Pleasure, like, oh yeah, right? Elegance, what if everything was elegant? And I'm not just talking about like wealth and money elegance. I'm talking about the ease of creation, where you take one action and it eliminates 17 other actions, right? Where one choice can actually create so much more. Exquisite creation, ooh, and then greater than I can imagine. And that energy always just has me continue to expand out. I love those energies. So those are my current priority energies, right? And this is what we work with in the Art of Living Crazy Possible, is choosing energies for you that are like actually light your body up, that have you go, oh, that actually feels good in my body. Yeah, that is a number one indicator too that you already are those energies. And that when you start being them, then the universe will respond. So we're not actually adding energies in that aren't already you. We're actually acknowledging the ones that are already you, that are already part of your being, that are asking to be acknowledged and to be radiated, so to speak. Okay, so it isn't about conclusions at all. It's really about using your awareness, your body awareness, your every other awareness that you have access to, and acknowledging what's actually true for you. Okay, and then expanding those energies. So when I start asking for a more excellence, pleasure, elegance, exquisite creation, and greater than I can imagine, then guess what starts to happen? Is things that match those start showing up, right? And so it's like, holy cow. Like I started asking for more pleasure a couple weeks ago, and I ended up at last night at my friend Robin had a full moon Nia dance workshop last night, and it was so awesome. My body was so happy, and it was so pleasure filled. I was like, I haven't been dancing, especially like ecstatic dancing, and I don't know, 15 years or something like that. And I was like, oh, body, I'm so sorry. I forgot you like that. So that was part of the pleasure. Like that possibility, I might not have actually chosen it. I might have, decided to do something different or work or do whatever last night. But I was like, no, I'm choosing to go. My body kept saying, yes, yes, go. Okay. All right. Nina says, my body and I are so expansive with all of this. Yeah. Because it's the acknowledgement of what's already you, what's the infinite you, removing all the other stuff that's not you. Like we were talking about, the blame, the shame, the regret, the guilt, the wrongness, the doubt, the hesitation, removing all of that. And when you start being and radiating these energies, the universe responds very, very quickly. We've had people literally get this, create their priorities. Actually, it's not even creating, it's acknowledging their priorities, and then literally walk out the door, and then freaking magic happens, right? Like just magic, because you're like congruent. That's the magic of it, is that the how things show up and the what shows up, you don't even have to ever worry about. The how you be congruent is the process that you can do for yourself, right? The what you can actually have for yourself. Tracy's saying, my body is starting to lighten up. Awesome. How does it get better? So Manjeet was in class last weekend here in Noosa, and she said, I added being and receiving like a princess, and he literally got called princess 3 times yesterday by complete strangers. That's how it works. That's as fast as it works. And we are at such an amazing time on the planet that this is actually available to us. And we're not going to get burned at the stake anymore. We're not going to get thrown in jail necessarily, or not in jail, but in the, the loony bin, right? The institutions and stuff like that, like we used to in other lives. This right now is like prime energy, space, and consciousness for the magic of instant actualization and congruency to actually be. We have the tools, we have the awareness, we have the consciousness. We also are aware of it. So how many of you guys are actually aware that that an expanded reality or a whole different reality for you is available, but you haven't been able to get there? There's been like a gap. Just post in the group for us. Let's see how many of you guys are aware of that. All right. Now, let's see here. Magic of congruency. I want to make sure I hit all my topics for today. Okay, cool. So when you know how to create and actualize, then really anything becomes possible. Nothing is impossible anymore. And they always say that, right? Like everybody says out there in the world, like, oh, nothing is impossible. I'm possible. But there's a lot of times just a big gap of like, yeah, like, I know that's possible. I get it. I can see it, but there's a big but in there. I don't know how to get there. I don't know what to do. I don't. And that is one of the creators of the gap, is saying, I don't know. It will keep you from actually having the awarenesses. Okay. So one of the things you can actually start doing is going, okay, so if I'm aware of that, what actually is possible here? Okay, so one of the things I'm going to share with you in a minute is the instant actualizations, like how to create more of those. This particular question is, what am I aware of, and what can I choose today, and what energies can I be that to create that are more long-term, we call long-term strategies, long-term questions that can start to rearrange things immediately, but are also for the long term. Because what I see a lot of is in the manifesting processes and things that I learned in the past with law of attraction and things like that, is you're usually going for goals. You're like, you have a money problem, so you want to solve the money problem. I want to manifest the $5,000. I want to manifest the man. It's like things. You're going for things. But the question is for you is, are you a thing creator, like a goal creator, or are you an energetic creator? And you can post in the box too. Like, let me know, like, are you an energetic creator or are you a thing creator? Now, you can be both, right? If you can go for things and like having $100,000 in the bank account or whatever, and it happens, that's what you want. Does it actually happen? Or is it more of an energy? Now, I realized I'm way more on this side of energetic creator, that if I go for the energy, I don't really care what shows up. I don't care how it shows up. But when it shows up with the energy, that's what's fulfilling. That's what's satisfying. That's what actually has me go, yeah, my life is actually worth living. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of energetic creators. Awesome. Yeah, things are energetic too, but how you create, if you're creating based on the goal of the thing, is different than not being attached to the thing at all and actually going for the energy. Because the energy, like my target here of greater than I can imagine, I don't have any point of view about how it shows up. I don't have any point of view about what shows up. I don't have any attachment to any of that. All I know is that greater than I can imagine can start showing up when I start being that energy, right? So that's really what we're talking about. So Sydney says, I'd love to be both, but more of an energetic creator. Okay, so I think that it sounds like what you might be saying, Sydney, is the energetic creator of like creating the energies and then actually having the things actualize. So like, for example, if we take my life, things actualize. I paid off the $150,000 in a matter of a couple of years. I like a few of the things I've created recently is this gorgeous, amazing house with this. I'm looking over here to this amazing view of the. I've got all the way to the ocean, to Noosa Beach, to the hinterlands, and like the whole way, like it's this in the sunset directly out of my view every single night, right? Now, the energies of that light me up. I love being able to see the sky. I love being able to be perched up. I love the expansiveness of this house, right? So those are all energies, but they've actualized into the home I live in now, right? And so when you are willing to actually have them come into actualization, and actualize means to make real, to put into existence, right? Pull it through into actualization, not just the energies. Then you're actually being a creator with a body that is actualizing things for your body. Because if I didn't have a body right now and I was just a being floating around, I wouldn't need a house, right? I might go haunt some houses. But I wouldn't need a house. I don't need money. I don't need any of this stuff. I don't need the view. You can go anywhere and do anything or whatever that you can do without a body. But with a body, that's what it's all for, is everything that you actualize is for your body. So are you including your body in your asks? Are you asking for your body? Or are you asking based on keeping up with the Joneses, or this is what I think I should have? So this is all stuff we go over in the Art of Living Crazy Possible classes, and really take a deep dive to just shovel what I call the garbage bags. Have you ever noticed, like, sometimes you see something in your world and you're like, or like the garbage, right? Like, you know, if you actually have chicken and you cut off the extra chicken and you put it in the trash can, and, you know, sometimes we don't have a lot of trash. So a couple of days later, it starts stinking because the trash can's not full. And you're like, oh, what's smelling bad? What's smelling bad? Oh, it's the trash can. It's the chicken, right? Because it's like you kind of forgot that you put the chicken in there and there was no reason to take it out before then. And then it starts smelling, right? So it's kind of like getting all the things that in your life that are smelling up your reality that you've either gotten used to, you've overlooked, you might have thought were normal, getting them out there so you can have a clean space to create in. That's basically what we do in the first 3 modules of the Art of Living Crazy Possible. And then in the second 3, we really look at what are your energetic priorities? What can you acknowledge that actually expands you so much that the universe can't help to respond? You become an irresistible invitation to the universe delivering you everything that's congruent with that. And then in the last 3 modules, we actually look at, okay, how does this apply to your life? How can you actually go out into your life and have this work for you on an ongoing basis? And what's so amazing is that when you get those 3 elements, is clearing out the trash, getting congruent, acknowledging all of that, and then actually looking at how do I actually apply this in my life, then you just start being different. You start relating to the universe totally differently. You start to know how you create. Right. And then you can play with that. And it was funny. We just had, I had 3 live classes in Vancouver, in New York City, and here in Noosa over the last couple of months. And so many people are reporting like instant shifts in how they're being, not discounting themselves anymore, not making themselves wrong, really being willing to receive those energies, all the different ways that they show up, seeing where they had, you know, big stinky trash cans, poop pies in their world, that they can go, oh, that's not required there anymore, and then let it go with ease. And it doesn't take hours and hours and months of clearing and emotional processing and all that kind of stuff. It's like the time of diving into the emotions we don't have to do that anymore. And sometimes it's required to look at certain things, but a lot of times it actually isn't required anymore. We had in one of my classes recently, we had something that came up that was really intense for someone. And what was really amazing was within a few minutes, we were able to identify the truth of it, which eliminates the trauma, eliminates the emotion of it. And then they saw the possibility of what was true for them. And then it was just totally shifted. And when you're willing to let go of the necessity of emotion and trauma and drama and the intensity of it and be aware of what's actually true, it's like that thing that, that saying that says the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free of all of that. It will totally set you free of all of that. Now, does stuff come up? Yeah, it's going to, but your ease in dealing with it and actually going to what's possible becomes a lot faster. All right. Angelique was in class last week and she said, the universe relates totally different to me now is what I'm discovering. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Just looking at your comments here. Yeah, I love hearing about that about people. That's such a gift. It really is a gift. And that's like the fun part. Well, I say the fun part. There's so many fun parts, but one of the most fun part for me is seeing people's lives shift so much to where they were being something that really wasn't true for them. And they literally go, oh, that's not me anymore. We've let the energetic patterns go, because all it is energetic patterns, right? None of it's actually serious. None of it's actually significant unless you make it. And then when you make it solid and significant and a deal for you, then you create that energetic pattern and run it on yourself. And then it's actually pretty easy to get to like actually release. And that's what's so exciting, is that it is actually ease to go, okay, that's not me anymore. I'm choosing this. And when you're clear about your energetic priorities, it's so much easier, because you can see when the heaviness shows up, the trauma shows up, the emotional baggage shows up, and you go, that's heavy. That's actually not congruent with my priorities now. And there's one choice to make, and that one choice goes, whew, and this stuff just goes away. It's literally like it disintegrates. And sometimes, yes, like I said before, there is stuff to do clearing work on. There's sort of deeper stuff to look at. But so much, I'd say, like from my experience and my own practice with myself, but also with the thousands of clients around the world, I'd say 85% or more can actually be negated by getting clear on your energetic priorities and learning how you create. You don't have to clear that stuff anymore. You'll really just be clearing the stuff that comes up along your way, right? It's kind of like if you have a machete and you're in a jungle. There's another analogy for you. You have a machete and you're in a jungle and you're like, I want to go there, right? So you can clear a big circle patch where you are, or you can clear the direct way to get there. What do you want to do? Do you want to clear the whole forest, or do you want to just clear the way to actually get to where you're going? Okay, that's what we're doing in this whole process. Marion wants to get her butt to Maui. She wants it live. Oh my God, that'd be so fun. So fun. So fun to play. Okay, this webinar requested yesterday. How does it get better than that? Awesome. Okay, great. So let me make sure I've got the next thing here. Okay, so remove the mystery from instant actualizations. All right, this one is really juicy, you guys. Okay. So those things, that show up as if by magic. You're like, I was just thinking about that, and then it showed up. Hold on one second here. Right? Or you just asked for that thing, and then it showed up. Those are what we call instant actualizations, or instantaneous actualization. And when like we said before, when we are congruent with, actually, let me rewind for 1 second. We are always having instantaneous actualizations, always. The ones that seem magical are the ones that are sort of out of the realm that we have been playing in. You can instantaneously actualize a bunch of crap. You can instantaneously actualize somebody being angry with you. You can instantaneously actualize your car breaking down. You can do all of that stuff. That's all the stuff that we don't want to create, right? We want to create the ease and the magic and the flow and the juiciness, okay? That typically, right? So I just want to say that you are already instantly actualizing a lot. Like my whole body's like, yeah, you are. Now, what are you congruent with? That's the key. So right now you can sort of, if everybody just puts your barriers down. So we have all these energetic barriers that we put up to receiving and perceiving with our awareness, all that stuff. So just close your eyes for a minute. Unless you're driving, don't do that if you're driving. Put your barriers down. Okay, there you go. Put more of them down. And let's put the big barrier down that has anything that doesn't allow you to have ease with receiving. Let's put that one down. All right, now let's expand your energy out. So just expand your energy out as far as you can go and just keep going and keep going and keep going 10 times further than that. Okay, and what I want you to do is I want you to turn a whole 360 degrees. And what I want you to do is be aware of your whole reality and all, like everything that you're aware of in the universe. And what is available right now that matches the energy of delight. There you go. That's a fun one. You can add in whatever energy that you would like. What is available right now that's a match to awe or a match to pleasure? Okay, and just scan the universe and just ask for anything that's available now to show up into your awareness loud and clear. Okay, show up into your awareness loud and clear. And a lot of times how it'll show up is it'll show you that energy that you're aware of right now, that it'll show you that energy. Okay, so you have to pay attention. Now, if you have your eyes closed, you can open your eyes. So it's super quick, 10, 15 seconds, just scanning your whole universe. And you don't have to come to any conclusions about it. If you weren't aware of anything, that's totally fine. We're basically saying, hi, universe, we're asking for more of this energy. Can you show us where it is? Okay. All right. Now, with that, we'll start to look in a couple of places. One is, what is currently available now? Actually, and I'm giving you the part that I was going to give you at the end right now because it's coming up right now. So what is currently available now that matches this? Okay. That's one question I ask often. Okay. And I call it low-hanging fruit because these things already exist. It's literally like the fruit tree has a ripe pear ready for you to just pull and dive into and totally enjoy. Like I do that. My whole body goes, yeah, I want a pear. Right. So there is low-hanging fruit. There are things that already exist that are available for you at any moment. And when you're willing to ask for them, ask the universe to show you where they are, and then choose them or take the actions that will open the door to receiving those, they already exist. The pear doesn't have to be planted in the ground to grow the tree, to be like, we don't have to wait 2 years for it. Some asks are like that. Some possibilities are like that. And it takes the attention and energy and sometimes actions to actually create those. And the pear tree is a great example, because if you want a pear tree that's going to create for you long-term, AKA a business, right, then you got to plant the seed. First of all, you got to pick what kind of fruit do you want to plant? Oh, I want to plant a pear. Okay, great. Where are we going to plant it? Oh, we're going to plant it right there. Oh, we got to go get a seed. Okay, good. Put the seeds in, water it, nurture it, put some fertilizer on it, right? And you got to continue to nurture that energy until it grows. Right? That's long-term creation. That's creation of your whole life. But the instant actualization is really where are the possibilities that exist right now that I can choose. So you can ask based on an energy, or you can just ask in general, hey, universe, what possibilities do you have available right now? Now, one of the first times that this showed up for me, I look back and it was massive, but seemingly so silly at the same time. And I was sitting there and I was totally broke. I had no money, but my body's like, I want sushi. Give me sushi. And what's funny about that is I actually don't eat raw fish, but I love the experience of sushi. And there's a whole bunch of things I love on the menu, but I don't actually eat the raw fish part. So I was like, oh, all right, I'm going to ask a question here. And I just started playing with this. And I said, all right, what's available? And what would it take to have somebody take me out to sushi tonight? And within 30 minutes, a guy I was dating called, and he said, hey, do you want to go out to dinner? And I said, yes, I do. Can we go to sushi? And he said, yes, we can. And then 30 minutes later, we were off having sushi or whatever. But I acknowledged myself for creating that, because I was like, huh. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, wait a second. Where did that awareness come from for me to even ask? And I was like, holy cow. So I love reverse engineering things, right? I love being able to go, oh, look at that. And it creates so much more ease in my world in creation because I start to go, that's actually how that works. Awesome. So here's the question. Was my body wanting sushi and then it created that possibility, right? Or was my body aware of that possibility and let me know? Okay. Now, what I find is that a lot of times with those instant actualizations are already available, like we talked about before. But with this particular one, my body was like, hey, Cory, there's sushi available. Do you want to get it? Right? So the actions I had to take was number one, acknowledging that that's what my body was saying yes to it and go, okay, all right, let's ask a question, which is engaging with the elementals, engaging with the universe. Hey, what would it take? Right? And then that beacon goes out. The possibility that was already available says, all right, here we go. And then there we go. We take the action and we're off to sushi. It's kind of like, Uber, if you guys are familiar with Uber, the drivers that'll drive you around, the little app. If you've ever used the app on your phone, when you say, hey, here's where I'd like to go, right? You can see all the little drivers, the cars around you. And it says, they'll be there in 5 minutes. Right? So it's kind of like going on the Uber app and saying, oh, how many possibilities are available? Oh, that one's pretty close. Let's see what's possible there. Right? But you have to engage with it. You have to acknowledge that that's an awareness. And when I start asking more and more and more, hey, what's actually already available? Then stuff shows up like crazy. And I'm always like, yeah, and that, and that, and that, and that contributes to me. And one of my priorities that's been one of my priorities for years is magical living. And this isn't magical thinking, like hoping and wishing. This is magical living, the real embodiment of having things show up for you as if by magic a lot. So how many of you guys would like to have that a lot? And you can tell me, what's your percentage now? How much do you live magically now? And how much would you like to live magically, right? Let me know. I'm curious to know. Oh, Mary says, like how I finally took the Art of Living Crazy Possible. She was in our class in January, and she really created it so she could have it, and was like that ongoing process, it sounds like. So Jen Savage says 40 out of 100. Ooh, or 40 and you would like 100. Yeah. Start asking for that. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it'll let you know. Exactly. Okay, good. So, wow, shit. 35. Wait, where'd they go? 35%. Get out of here. Let's make that 100. 30% now. I'll have 100. Body said 90%. What would it take to have 1 million? I like that, Wendy. Paula says 25 out of 100. Claudia says 40 would like 100. 30, like 80% more. Now it's at 10%. Yeah. Tracy said, I tried to cheat, but my body wouldn't let me. Well, that's actually really great integrity with yourself, right? Because when you cheat your body, when you cheat your awarenesses, it doesn't work out. That's where you got to go, okay, I'm not wrong here. And because so much of the time we want to make ourselves wrong for it. It's like, oh, it's only 2%. No, that's amazing information. That's 2%. All right. We got a lot more that you can add. We got a lot to expand there. Not like a lot like it's going to be hard and bad, but like, wow. If you're at 2%, what will like 20% be like? That'll be a whole different reality. And what will 50% be like? Right? We got 10 to 100 from Billy Joe, right? Striving for 100, but gaining more daily. Totally, Randy says. Yeah, so Jen says, I tend to manifest things, but they happen slowly. I'd like to speed up the process. Yeah, exactly. So the more we get into this sort of congruency with your priorities and get everything else out of the way, and getting everything else out of the way as not your priority anymore. If it's heavy, it might not be your priority. If you've been choosing to people please, that might not be your priority anymore, right? And really shifting all of that stuff to where you start to receive. Now, what oftentimes happens is magical things will start showing up, right? Especially when you do the Art of Living Crazy Possible, when you get clear and you start becoming congruent. So some stuff will start showing up. That's kind of your instant gratification of like, okay, stuff's moving, stuff's working here. And then it starts to get more and more and more and more over time. And so a lot of times after I talk to people after a year of doing their Art of Living Crazy Possible class, then a year later, like I can ask them like, what's different? And they're like, holy cow, all this stuff is different. Because even if you get 5% more congruent today, that turns out it's like an angle. It's like what do they call that? Like an angle, right? Where you start off and it seems really tiny right here, but over time it gets really big. It's like when you're flying a plane, if you're just one little degree off, then it's going to put you in a different city, right? So it's one little degree, 5%, 5 degrees is going to put you in a totally different place in over time. Okay. So this isn't like what I facilitate isn't quick fixes, though we want to add in those instant actualizations because why not? It's actually a long-term strategy to being the magical creator that you are, creating a crazy possible, just here, but living and being in your full capacity. Because here's the thing, like if we look at it in the 30,000 foot macro view, did you come here to contribute to something to this reality or contribute something to the planet? And are you being fully like 1,000% that contribution, right? A lot of times there's a gap there, right? And that's really what we came for, is to be whatever that gift is. And that gap keeps us from being the gift. The wrongness, the shame, blame, regret, guilt, the bogus priorities, the lie of belonging, that all keeps us from being the gift. So when we start getting all that stuff out of the way and you start being congruent with who you really are, you start to be the contribution that you came to be. You start being the gift that you came to be, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Whatever that is, because it's differently for all of us. All right? Okay, so that's that. Now, how can you have more of this in your life? Is anybody interested in having the tools to actually create this ongoing and the support to do it too? Right? So that's what the Art of Living Crazy Possible course is about. We have it in 2 formats. We have it online, so anybody in the world can take it. And then we also have retreats, which are done in 3-day formats, which are super fun and awesome as well. In the 10-week course, it's done over 10 weeks. We do it on Zoom. And we have a lot of fun doing it because there's people around the world. We all get on live. You get the recordings. You get the Unicorn Playbook, which is this. And this is a 45-page booklet of like your manual to actually live crazy possible. But the thing is it's not a formula. It's not like, here's what you do, this, this, and this. It's more like you acknowledging how you create, not from decision, not from conclusion, not from fixing anything, because we don't fix anything. We actually have a whole section on that. It's actually from acknowledging what's true for you, what's light for you, what's expansive for you, what's possible for you, and then giving you that space to choose it. The awareness is to go, oh, that's what I've been doing to create that. I'm actually going to choose this now. And that play space, which is really cool, like in person, because we get to play together in person, but online, we also have a Facebook group. So you get to do it over 10 weeks and you get to see what shows up and you get the contribution of everybody in that as well. So if you're like, I'm having this and I would like to have more of this in my life, and I actually am like, no more living not magical, Muggle style, I want to have the magic, then head on over to artoflivingcrazypossible.com. On that page, you'll see a ton of testimonials on there, and we're adding more soon because we just did all these classes. And we have so much more to add to that. And if anybody is, I know a number of you guys have already done the class. If you want to post like some of your things you've really got from the class, that would be great for people to see. You might inspire some people. So if you go to that page, you'll see the testimonials, but on the very top, you'll see online option and the live retreats option. So you can click either one of those or both and check them out. So the online course starts in just a few weeks on August 12th, 13th, depending on where you are in the world. And we dive right in to the online course. And then the retreats, we have 2 coming up. We have one in Laguna Beach that we literally just added because we were asking like, what else can we contribute? And then Ben's like, hey, do you want to do an Art of Living Crazy Possible in Laguna while you're there? And I was like, I was thinking about that. And then I asked the question, hey, is this what people have been asking for? And I got a yes. And then I asked online and I got a whole bunch of people that said yes. And I was like, okay, good, it's on. We're doing it. And now we have all these people that have already signed up. So we're like, okay, that was something that was a possibility that was already available. And I was like, I don't know if I want to, it might be too much. And I had all my reasons of why I didn't really want to do that. And then when I looked at it and I said, what's this going to create if we choose this? And it was like, and then I asked, if I choose this, will it contribute to excellence? Yes, that's light. Will it contribute to my pleasure? I was like, yeah, because I love doing these retreats in person. They are so much fun. Will it contribute to elegance? Yeah, I got a light for that. Exquisite creation. Oh yeah. In Laguna Beach, California. Have you been there? My favorite restaurant is there called Carmelita's, and I'm totally going. And anybody that goes can come with me. And then greater than I can imagine. I got the energy. I said, because if we create this retreat, will it create greater than I can imagine? I just got this energy. So when I ask, what will this create? Will it contribute to expanding these priorities? And I get yes, 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 yes. Even though I'm not going to have that much time off in Laguna Beach like I thought I wanted, it matches my priorities. So I choose it. And that's how to expedite the freaking universe. Like expedite it. But you have to be clear and you have to know for yourself what's not that and choose what is congruent with that so that you can really work with it. And that's all the stuff we do in the Art of Living Crazy Possible. So you can go there. The course is $9.97 US. We do have country pricing. If you have any questions about that, please just message us. There is information on all of the sales pages about that. And I do that simply because the currencies and stuff, it's world currencies. It just makes it easier if you're in a different country where your currency just isn't as valuable so that you can actually play with us. So it doesn't create that barrier there. And we do have payment plans, and we have some really great payment plans. So money never has to be an excuse. Now, if money is the excuse you use to not choose what's actually going to contribute to what's possible for you, there's a bonus that you get called creating money for anything. And really where you look at, it's a bonus in this program, where you look at everywhere you use money to negate your magic. Because if something is actually lighting you up and expansive, and you're like, oh my God, that'd be so fun, or wow, I've been asking for that, and then you use money and say, well, I don't have the money, you literally just chop its head off. You chop the possibility into a billion pieces and you negate it for yourself when it's literally showing you right in that moment, this is possible. Would you like to choose it? And sometimes when we have that thing like, I don't have any money in the bank account, we go, so I don't have the money. We're negating all the possibilities that could create it. Okay. And that's where it's like, would you be willing to have the magic of your creation? Right? The magic of what you can create. Everybody can have ease with money. It's a matter of letting go of the excuses that you use with money. Because I know I did. I mean, to create $150,000 in debt, you got to have a lot of excuses with money. I don't even know what all of them are anymore because they're so not in my world. But I could probably list a few, right? And yeah, so there's all of that. So if that's something in your world, now I don't want to ever have any say, choose this because, you know, it's going to fix anything. But if it's the possibility, that's what you want to engage in and go, what is possible here? What would it be like if I could have this? And what I love is that when you start to ask these questions and be congruent, because being congruent, you can actually go out and just be congruent. You can. But if it's not showing up for you with ease and you are having a little bit of trouble getting rid of stuff or seeing how you function, then this class can support you in that. Okay? All right. The Marion says, I had that wedgie. The bonuses in the course are worth like 3 times more than the cost of the class. Yeah. Yeah, I like to pack it full of bonuses because the bonuses actually support you in the course. And one of the bonuses in the course is that you get, for the online course, is that you get 4 live facilitation calls throughout the course. So you get all the modules of the course and everything that we dive into, but you also get the live facilitation. So anything that's coming up over the course of the 10 weeks, you can ask questions about. And what's really brilliant about that is that other people will ask the questions you need to hear that you didn't even know. You're like, wow, I have that too. I didn't even know to ask that. That's what's been going on. And everybody gets to actually contribute to themselves or to each other. So Marian says, I can say that thanks to Cory and this class, I actually got the stones to find a publisher for my books. Awesome. And I've been dreaming about that since I was about 16 or so. That is freaking awesome. And Manjeet saying, or Marian saying, the group is so much fun and the energy that comes together is really awesome. You make new friends. You have people in your life. And this is one of the things too, is that we actually create an energetic field that is all about creating crazy possible. So it's all about going beyond what you've decided is possible and actually going for what's crazy, right? And not, crazy as in impossible, right? And so when we all sort of get together, whether it's in person or online, then we create this field that actually contributes to everybody. And so when we have that field, and Napoleon Hill says it, like, surround yourself with like-minded people, surround yourself with people that are a contribution to you, basically. And I believe that 1,000%. When I surround myself with other people, other unicorns, other people that are interested in magic, other people that are expanding, and not all the people that are doing competition, and not all the people that are complaining, and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't have anybody in my life that's really doing that. So that means you're magical too. So when we do that, it actually contributes to us in creating a field that supports all of that. So the energy supports it all. Yeah. Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, cool. I'm just looking at your comments here. Okay, cool. Awesome. So this next upcoming course, which is starting on August 13th, is live. I'm facilitating it live because so much has changed. So much has changed. And I've found a couple of other ways to facilitate things that are making things quicker and more direct. And so the outcome of the last 3 live events has been phenomenal. I'm so happy about it. And so I wanted to add that in. We were going to do it differently, but we're going to do it live this time. So thanks for asking. Alonzo was in the class, and the last time he was awesome. All right, you guys. So if you wanted to, Tracy says, okay, I just completed the ALCP in Noosa. Last weekend before the class, I was stuck in almost every aspect of my life for at least 18 months, and I couldn't find my way out. During the class, it all unraveled, and now I'm creating. I'm excited about my life. I'm congruent, and magic is showing up everywhere. This class is amazeballs, and I can't wait to see where my life goes from here. I'm so excited for you, Tracy. That's kind of the stuff that happens, is like you literally open the door that's been right in front of you for a while, and you step right through and go, oh, there's all of this just waiting for me. I made it hard. I made it a problem. I made it all this stuff. But really, like, it's just a couple of choices away typically. But you got to get congruent. You got to get congruent with those energies and start knowing what you'd like to have your life be like. That's the key to it all. You got to know that. And if you are having trouble getting clear, this course can contribute to you. And here's what I always ask you guys is, if I chose this course, what would my life be like in 5 years? And if I don't choose this course, what's my life like in 5 years? And if the course contributing to you in 5 years gives you an energy of like, what? Or lighter or tingly or whatever, then there's a contribution there for you. That's how I make all my choices, is that. All right. So Brandy, in the past year, she's traveled to Rome, Bali, and Canada. Right? Totally crazy possible for her. Okay, I'm just looking at these here. So this one may be similar to being there live. Sydney, are you asking like live in person? It's all the same material. It's just delivered in a totally different way, whether it's live in person or live online on the online course. Yeah, exactly. My body totally tingled out on the Maui class. Oh, nothing there for me. Right? Yeah, it's crazy with the 5-year question too. I got that from Access Consciousness. It's so brilliant because it's further than we can sort of conceptualize in our head, right? And it's also that 2 degrees, the 5 degrees that we shift now. And sometimes, you guys, people shift 100 degrees. Like, it's like, and sometimes it doesn't seem as instant, but over time, I literally will talk to you in 6 months and I'll be like, what's different? Talk to you in a year. What's different? And it's totally different. All right. So does anybody have any questions about any of it? You can see on the webpage, I won't go through everything, but all the modules are listed there. The pricing is listed there. When we start, we've got the Laguna, we've got Maui in November, and then the online course. So here's one question people often ask is, what's the benefit of, doing one live later or doing the online one now? Well, so like, if you're like, ooh, Maui looks good. Well, Maui's like a number of months away, right? Which is great. If that's what's like lighting you up, then awesome. Follow your awareness. That's like the whole key to all of it, is follow your awareness. And the other question I would ask is, would doing the online version contribute to now? Okay. And that's one of the reasons I love doing online programs, is because you can actually have it now. You don't have to wait, and you can have it then, because we actually do, you get a 50% discount. It's actually not a discount. You get a half rate for all graduates. So once you've been through the Art of Living Crazy Possible, you can go through again for just half price. And so a lot of people will do that simply because once they do it again, their whole life is so different. So they're looking at all the things from a totally different space. It's like, literally, I have a new life, and let's look at this again. And you get deeper and deeper and deeper into it for yourself. All right. So our April, yeah. So second, Linda said yes, you would get the graduate pricing on that. If you've done the Art of Living Crazy Possible, you get the graduate pricing. It was called something different, but it was so different back then. It's a totally different class now than what it used to be. I can look that up for you right now. I don't think it's actually on the webpage. We just decided those. They're going to be Mondays in Australia, Sunday nights for the US. Google Calendar. This is the page as well. I'm opening that up. We'll see if it shows up here. And then you get the recordings too. So there's, because this is a live class and we do have people around the world, we can't always be in a time that works for everybody in the world, because some people are sleeping at any particular time. So we try to make it on a time that would work for a majority of where people are, but that doesn't always work out as good as we would like. But it looks like they are on Pacific Standard Time in the US, 3 to 5-ish, 4:30 or 5 p.m. And that starts on the 12th. And so most of the classes will be at that time rate. I'm traveling a couple of days, so we have a couple of different spaces for the classes. But then we start on the 12th, and we do the 12th, 13th, 14th, 3 classes in a row. We got with a bang. And those are the good ones where we just take the garbage out. It's like a 3-day clean of your house. It's really awesome. All right, let me check your comments here. All right. Yeah, I'm really excited for Maui. Okay, so those are the lives. So Angelique says the ALCP live last week was great, greater than I could have imagined. Energetic shifts since then, beyond words and beyond mind. Yeah, and it's simply because we start actually being congruent with something different, right? Whatever you were congruent with isn't there anymore. So you come over here, and it's like a completely different reality. Manji says the brilliance of this class creates a whole new life. It's such a personal experience. Yeah, Tracy says that's a little bit of a gray bit of what I want my life to be like. Yeah, and when we start getting clear on the energies, and because sometimes it's a foreign concept for people. So when people do that through the first time, they go, "Oh, by the way, you get all the recordings and stuff, so you can do it again on your own at any time." because you'll have the recordings. But when people go through it the first time, even looking at this concept of what would I like is sometimes very new, especially for moms, right? Especially for parents and dads, where their whole life has been, for the last number of years has been dedicated to everybody else. Or if you've been a people pleaser, or if you've been with people that are very demanding of you. And so you've had to give up what you want for what everybody else is asking for. And so even the beginning of that discovery feels like you're chipping away at a rock. And it's like you can start open it more, and you open it more, and you open it more, and open it more. And the more you can sort of play with it, and the more you look at it, the more you're willing to receive for you, and the more you're willing to choose for you and ask for you. And it all starts working differently. So sometimes it's a little compacted, so to speak. But once we start getting it moving, it can start opening up with nice, like a flower, like a lovely flower. Yes, Annie, that's correct. Sundays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, and Angelique says it's like a whole new universe has just opened up for me. Yeah, and the old stuff just doesn't exist. Yeah. Exactly. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being a part of this web class. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate that you're asking for more magic in your life, that being congruent is something of interest to you. And if you have asked the question, if you're like, I'll have more of this, check out one of the classes. Join us for the live online version. It won't be live online again for probably about 6 months at least. So if you want the online version live, that's what it will be, is this time. And what else is crazy possible? How much more fun can we have? And what would it be like to actually be being that energy, space, and consciousness that allows every single thing that you're asking for to show up? And I almost forgot. I mentioned some of the questions before, but here they are. What is available now? These are instant actualization questions. What is available now? And I'll do that and close my eyes and go, what's available now? And just see what you become aware of. Receiving what you are aware of is essential for this process. What have I been asking for but refusing to choose? Because likely it already exists. And then if I didn't have any points of view about what shows up, what could I choose? And if I didn't have any points of view about what I'm willing to choose, what could I choose? So we'll actually send you out those questions so you can have them as well. And like, I want to see what's possible for you guys, because I've seen people who were creating a lot of crap in their life completely shift to create magic, pure magic, and know themselves as a creator. And start trusting that. And I think that's one of the most valuable things. I say that a lot because there's so many things, but I say it to highlight things. One of the most valuable things on my laundry list of valuable things is knowing yourself as a creator and having that integrity with yourself, that you follow through on the possibilities that you know are possible. And that's really what this course facilitates, is you having more of that. If you can't seem to do it on your own and you'd like a little help, this is what we do. So anybody is welcome to join us if this possibility excites you, if this possibility has you go. If you actually are lighter and more happy after watching this, there's probably something here for you, okay? And you're invited to come. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys in class, and maybe you'll come play with Laguna or Maui or online, wherever you come to play. I'm happy to have you. And what can we create together that has never been possible before? All right, you guys, check out ourlivingcrazypossible.com. And if you're on the fence, if you're like, well, I don't know, check out some of those testimonials. Get inspired. See what might actually be possible for you. And allow yourself to engage in the possibilities that you've been waiting to choose. Oh, awesome. Oh, and Angelique just said, Cory and her facilitation is the pinnacle of it all. I've done many classes with many facilitators, and the magic that exists with her and this class is out of this world. Thank you so much, you guys. I so appreciate each one of you guys choosing more and more and more in your life that's congruent with the reality that we all know is possible for us and the gift we came to be. All right, you guys, see you soon. Bye.